A former Lucasfilm employee is speaking out against the company and talking about how they've destroyed the brand. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Echo Base Network. There was a video that was made over at a channel, and many of you commented in our videos letting us know about this. This thing is growing and getting big, by the way. Want to say that, first of all. The content creator, who is the individual who used to work for Lucasfilm, he's called Kneepayne, K-N-E-E-P-A-Y-N-E. And good content creator, makes all kinds of stuff, camera reviews, thoughts on Star Wars, just, it's neat. But he made a video 3 days ago that is starting to trend, and it's starting to blow up. And I hope it does blow up, and I think it's only a matter of time if he's willing. This individual will be making his rounds on live shows. You know, we need to get him over on Gary from Nerdrotic. We need to get him over on Geeks and Gamers. We've invited him here to come join us and talk about his experience and where Star Wars went wrong. Here's what we got to know. The man is like many of us. He is a fan of Star Wars that grew up with Star Wars. It was the golden age of the brand. It was the once indestructible franchise created by George Lucas. And what has happened? He goes all in discussing where it went wrong, who's to blame. And there's been a lot of discussion lately about Dave Filoni. Well, Kneepayne is not a fan of Mr. Filoni.
My first memory of going to the movies as a little boy was Return of the Jedi.
He begins his 40-minute long video talking about what Star Wars means to him. He is a fan like many of us.
Maybe you can work for George Lucas at Skywalker Ranch, right? Well, funny they said that, because years later, I walk up to these doors at Lucasfilm Animation for the first time as an employee. And that was the old days, you know, with George. It was something special. It wasn't perfect. It was not perfect at all. But there was something special. Now, I worked in this building here.
He basically takes the viewers on a virtual field trip of sorts, going all around Skywalker Ranch, showing you all of the different buildings, sharing his memories, company cookouts. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. It's not perfect, but everything is awesome during this time at Skywalker Ranch at Lucasfilm under the direction of George Lucas. Shares many memories that are worth a listen to, but eventually he's going to get into when things began to change and how wrong things went. And here's one thing that is actually kind of scary after the Acolytes episode 3. He says, this isn't dead yet. It's going to get worse. He has complete, full confidence, it appears, in his video, that we're not even at the bottom yet. It's going to get even worse under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni.
You know, they say you don't want to know how the sausage is made. Well, not only do I know how the sausage is made, I know the people making it very well. And seeing their names and credits, it just bothered me. Yeah, I just was like, I can't support these people. And so I just stayed away. I wasn't watching any of the new content. And then a few years goes by, and I just stopped caring.
One of the things that he says multiple times in this video is that the most toxic, biggest shills for Disney Star Wars are people who work at the company. Does that surprise you?
It is interesting, having been on the inside and now being out, and then just hearing the opinions of people. Because like I said, when I was still in, I was starting to not really feel what was going on. I wasn't agreeing with the direction. So I'm not really surprised where things are at. Now, looking back, I didn't know they would go as far as they did. They've definitely doubled down. But
double down.
It is interesting to actually hear what the fans have to say on the outside, people who weren't in the company.
He talks extensively about how so many of us fans on the outside who have never been in the company actually get things right. Now, ironically enough, he's made a separate video talking about the content of Mike Zero, and he says how off the wall bizarre that is. Basically saying, hey, Mike Zero's doing his thing, but it's bizarre, it's off the wall, and none of this is legitimate. But as far as this goes, he's specifically talking about the fandom and how they feel or how they view Dave Filoni. Filoni has been a major topic of discussion lately for the fans. Many fans had hope that Dave Filoni would be able to get Star Wars course corrected. Many fans, like our friends over at Geeks and Gamers, have been telling us for a few years now that Dave Filoni is exactly what we now know everybody to be, a major problem for Star Wars. He is not the answer. He is not the solution. He is KK's little minion. He's doing his own thing. He's making his brand of Star Wars, and it is horrible. It's destroying the brand. It's destroying the franchise without question. Well, to be fair to Dave Filoni, I was saying, for on record, when the Acolyte dropped, that this is the trial of Dave Filoni. Has he given us some really good Star Wars animation? Yes, he has. Has he given us really good Star Wars in the live action? No, he has not. Ahsoka, there was nowhere to hide. It was completely his. Let's see what Dave Filoni can do. And it was a failure. It was an absolute failure. And now look what we're getting. And since he's taken over as creative director, look what we're getting. Dave Filoni is a major problem for Star Wars and its fans. Now, this gets really interesting here. He's talking about how when he worked at Lucasfilm, he was not able to have an opinion contrary to being shill. If he was critical at all, they treated him horribly. Check this out.
But there's part of me that's still, I'm interested. I think more from an entertainment perspective, just to see how upset people were getting. Just because I remember, from like I said, personal experience being in the studio and being like, oh, I don't know if I really liked the character Rey, and just like my coworkers just losing their ever living shit at me. I really getting pissed off at me because I didn't like it, and it wasn't. Granted, some of my coworkers worked on it. But that wasn't a big deal. I've had plenty of people work on projects, and I could tell them the project, I didn't like the project, and they'd be cool with it. Like I had friends that worked on that Avatar from M. Night, and they would trash the project. They'd be like, I'm not going to screening, screw that movie. I give it 3 months of my life. It's not getting 2 more hours, right? But when it came to Star Wars, well, that was taboo, right? That was big taboo.
And just for the record, he's talking about Star Wars under the Kathleen Kennedy regime, without question.
George just at one point decided he was done, right? And I don't think he ever really cared about his replacement. No, did he teach Filoni a lot? Sure. This whole like Filoni's replacement for George, there was only ever one George. Not that George is a perfect storyteller. Definitely had his mistakes in the past, red tails. But I never considered Filoni to be the next George Lucas.
Coming from a former Lucasfilm employee, I never considered Dave Filoni to be the next George Lucas. None of us should.
Yeah, I saw this a long time ago. That they were definitely starting to blur the lines between reality, our world, and the world of Star Wars. I saw the indications of this a long time ago. I didn't know they would take it this far, but I'm really not surprised by everything I've been learning about this Acolyte series. I'm not surprised.
Blurring the lines between our world and Star Wars. Basically, what that means is they're trying to interject our world, our problems, our modernism into current Star Wars. And Star Wars is supposed to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars is about escaping. They don't want you to escape. They want to teach you a lesson about DEI. That's what we're getting. And The Acolyte, make no mistake about it, The Acolyte is seriously a show about a lesbian group, lesbian coven of witches experiencing some type of genocidal event, and there are now 2 remaining who happen to be twins, one good, one bad. That's the story. That's what this is all about.
Oh my God. This is... Okay, I can't. That was horrible.
We just watched a former Lucasfilm employee, someone who worked in the visual effects department, experience seeing that for the first time. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. You got to be kidding me, man. Like, even he is like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? I can't. This is just awful. And I am not paying Disney $12 or $15 a month or whatever it is. I've given them enough. I've given Lucasfilm enough. I'm not doing this anymore.
I am currently working to find a therapist to heal from episode 3 of The Acolyte. It dropped last night.
Even the women hate it.
Even the women hate it. He's absolutely correct.
I always found it was a good icebreaker because you could find a Star Wars fan almost anywhere, right? Kick over a rock, there's a Star Wars fan. So it was nice to have that. Now, it's kind of embarrassing, actually. Some of the most diehard and toxic fanboys you'll find work at the company. Most of the items, the jackets that I sold, crew gear, were sold to people that were working there. It was never going to get better. I knew they were going to double down, quadruple down on their position and just keep going in that direction. And here's this. A lot of people are saying, okay, that's it. This episode 3 of Acolyte has killed Star Wars. I disagree with that one. I think we have yet to see Star Wars truly die. They're going to take it one step further.
It is going to get worse. And here's the question. As it gets worse, who's going to be watching? They have legitimately killed Star Wars. I mean, it is burnt to the ground, ashes, corpse. It is over. They have destroyed this brand. House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 1 just premiered yesterday, last night, and it's blowing anything Disney Star Wars has done away already. The numbers are going to be off the charts. It's going to be the #1 show streaming on any streaming platform worldwide. And Disney can't say that about anything anymore. The Acolyte won't even make Nielsen's top 10 after this next week. Wait and see. But you know who else is doubling down? The Shill Media is doubling down. Paul Tassi, senior contributor at Forbes, that's what he does. The Acolyte's 15% audience score is embarrassing for the audience scorers. And of course, he's talking about the review bombers, and you can't take them seriously, and they're what's wrong with the fandom. And the reason that they don't like the Acolyte is because it's got black women in it. Are you serious? Nobody is saying that. But they have to have a reason to lash out, and it has to be failing for a reason. And it's never because it's piss poor storytelling. It's never because of that. It's never because it's not respecting George Lucas's vision or creation. It's never because the characters are awful and we're not interested in them. It's never because they're trying to interject modern-day storytelling. It's always because people like me, and they just give you that long list of names that they call us because they're bigots and they're this and they're that. That's the reason Star Wars is failing, because all of these people. If they made Star Wars for the Star Wars fans, everything would be fine. That's where they go wrong. I want to shout out Knee Pain. Go check him out. I'm going to link his channel and this video in the description on this video today. The invitation has been extended to Knee Pain. We would love for him to join us on a live stream and share with us whatever he would like. But I have a suspicion that we're going to see him all over the place very soon. Like, this is a voice that needs to be heard. You know, a former Lucasfilm employee weighing in on current modern day Star Wars. And it's just an atrocity. It really is. Thank you guys for being here. We are You Are Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you. See you on the next one.